Armada Book 5 Chapter 2, The Phantom Tide Part 1. Debbie walked in the bridge and stood before Reek. Hi Debbie, welcome to the Tesla. I was advised by the council that you would be working with us for a few months. Reek said. Yes Mr. Reek, General Man wanted me to study how we can use techniques we learn here for Armada use. Dr. Chan now has a team that will work on this from the scientific point of view for the Armada, and Colonel Mitch Horner will take charge of all military personnel. Colonel Horner works under General Alan Cook while I still work for General Man and for you since you're still technically under General Man's Armada. Yes, and also because the Crimson and Trundies requested for you. Did you move your things in already? Tony, the ship AI, appeared. Debbie is taking one of the officers' suites nearest to your captain's suite Mr. Reek. All her things are now in her room. I like this ship. Smaller than Auntie Ellie's but a real science ship. A lot of office suites, seminar rooms, and conference rooms. I saw a large forward lab behind the mission room was converted to a large office. This is a different ship. There are 200 suites where 4 scientists can hold office, although half of them are now empty. We would have to assign them to our ground teams. There are 32 medium and large labs, but most of them would probably need some retrofitting depending on our needs, which we do not completely know yet. This is a pretty good-sized science ship. Reek explained. So how have you organized the Phantom Tide division? Right now, I am still looking at the operating requirements. You will join my main team to start everything. As starters, we can use mediums. Debbie said. Yes, it would be good if we have mediums who can front for us. My mother uses this lady medium in Los Angeles and I know she's really good. The real thing, you could say. Why don't we pay her a visit? I have never met a real thing. I doubt the mediums we have on a short list Kelly made up are the real things. They have not yet proven that they can see ghosts. But we intended to let them be as a sort of scapegoat or front for our activities just the same. Debbie telepathically told Tony the address and they were beamed behind a building. Tony told them they would have to walk across the street down towards the hill. The house is on the left. Debbie remembered the place, and when they got near the house they saw 4 cars parked in the large parking lot beside the house. They walked in and there were 7 people sitting in the living-turned-waiting room. The leather sofas looked expensive and complemented the coziness of the house. A large TV was turned on showing a news reporter. There was a small table with a computer at the far end of the living room. They approached and a blonde girl with a pink and violet accent in her hair, about 18, walked from the small hall and sat behind the desk. They saw a sign that read $2,000 for the first 30 minutes, $1,000 for every 15 minutes after that. She looks so expensive. Your mother paid this much? She has a discounted price at $500 for 30 minutes because they used to be classmates in high school. Sometimes she doesn't pay at all. The blonde girl seems to recognize her, but since she was wearing a starship uniform, she wasn't sure. Hello Arlene, I'm Debbie, Mrs. Carrington's daughter, remember me? Arlene looked at her. Yes, I remember you now, your mother was Mom's high school classmate. How's Mrs. Gomez? My mom's okay, business is good. Too good in fact. You dyed your hair. I remember you as a brunette. I started dyeing using different shades 3 years ago. Brunette makes you look exotic, especially with your mixed Latina face. Blonde hair makes you man-friendly. Can I use your restroom? I know where it is. She ran to the restroom. I am partial to brunettes. But you're very pretty with your blonde hair. Reek said. Thank you, sir. While in the restroom she asked Tony for some money. Tony beamed a block of $100 bills worth $100,000. Not this much, Debbie told him. She tried to open the block and was able to get a wad of $10,000 out. She told Tony to beam the rest of the money back. When she got out of the restroom, she handed Arlene the money. Arlene pointed to the computer. Your mom used to pay only $500 for 30 minutes. Yes, I know, but we might talk to your mom longer. Then I would just stop taking in customers already. She went to the door and switched the sign to closed. Tony told Debbie and Reek that there were ghosts lurking around the house and beside the customers. Some of them were old men and women, some are younger and one teen. Tony put a video probe inside the medium's room so Debbie and Reek could hear the conversation. Most of the sessions were question and answer. The living would ask the ghost a question and Mrs. Gomez would tell the living what the ghost told her. She really does see and hear the ghosts. Real said. I don't know how, but she does. I could not believe my mom and whatever she told me about her when we would come over here several years ago, but now I do. Debbie stood and stepped beside Arlene's table. You had an older brother, Jason, 2 years younger than me. Yes, he's finished college. He's now in New York and works in a bank. Arlene, how does your mom see the ghosts? I don't know. She just does. Do you see the ghosts yourself? Arlene looked at Debbie for a long time. Yes, sometimes when I want to. I used to see them all the time, but my mom taught me how to shut them out of my mind. It's not our eyes that see ghosts but our mind telling our eyes. So you can actually shut them out using your mind. I think your mom is doing an incredible work for the ghost communities and their families. Give them peace and resolution. Yes, she does. Sometimes she is present when the ghosts say their final goodbyes when they move on to heaven. Some of the ghosts are really nice and funny. Some are nutcases and real pests, pretty much like regular people. But they all want to move on, they do not like to be ghosts forever. Sometimes my mom goes out of her way to help resolve the cases, sometimes she works until midnight because customers keep coming in and some of them come from as far as Europe or Asia. Debbie switched topics to Arlene's school, her college plans and the latest news in the community where she has lived most of her life as well. They talked about the high school they both studied in and the famous water polo team. Reek was listening to them and listening to Tony's verbal report on several cases and field operation developments. When the last of the customers left, Arlene went inside and talked to her mom. Mrs. Gomez walked into the living room. Debbie stood and embraced her. Reek saw that she was a splitting image of Arlene, only a bit older and a brunette. Although he noticed some white hair and a pair of glasses hanging on her beige dress, she looks very young as Arlene's mother. He extended a hand and they shook hands. "Mr. Reek, you can call me Anna," Mrs. Gomez said. "Please have a seat. I don't see any ghosts with you." "Wait, you are talking to each other telepathically. You are also hearing telepathic voices talking to you. I could not make out what they are saying. Strange. Why are you here?" Anna asked. Arlene added, "Yes, I can hear voices but could only make out a few words. There are 3 women behind you. They just appeared." "Mrs. Gomez, I mean Anna, Arlene, I am the leader of a secret government group called Phantom Tide. We look at cases where people died and need resolution. Some are victims of foul play, some just need to talk, some need something more than talk. We do what you do but in a more organized way. We have scientists studying these new processes and military people looking at what we can learn from these operations." Reek started. Debbie continued, "The 3 women behind us are Jamie, Kelly and Dr. Lopez. Jamie is a movie star, Kelly works with the CIA and Dr. Lopez is part of the science team working with Phantom Tide." "The 3 women are not dead?" Arlene asked. "We can turn into them if you don't mind," Reek said. Anna nodded and Debbie and Reek became crimson invisible. "You can still see us and we can see you. Girls, why don't you sit beside me?" Reek said. Jamie and Kelly sat beside Reek while Dr. Lopez walked nearer to Anna and stood beside her. Anna tried to move her hand through Dr. Lopez and her arm went right through. "So how can I help you?" Anna asked. "We can help each other," Debbie said. "How do you do this? Disappear physically?" Arlene asked. "It's a long story. How do you see us?" Debbie asked. "You look like yourselves but in hazy blue and slightly opaque. Just like regular ghosts," Arlene said. "We would like you to work with us. If you agree, we need you to sign some non-disclosure documents." Reek said and forms appeared on the table with a pen. "I like and enjoy my work. I cannot leave my customers. I need to help them." Anna said. "Yes, you would still do so, but we would also need you to help us with some cases. The money is not a lot, but tell us how much you want to get paid and we will pay your fees." Debbie said. "Money is not important to me, but it helps screen my customers. Very often I go out and help people, some customers, some just through the ghosts, without getting paid for my work and sometimes Arlene's. Why don't you take Arlene to work with you? She can do all the things I can do. I know she needs a change of atmosphere." Anna said. "I enjoy working for you, Mom." "No, you don't. I can just get your cousin Rhea to help me." "Great, but you both still have to sign the documents," Debbie said. Anna got them and signed away. All of them reappeared. Debbie got another set and gave them to Arlene to sign. "May we invite you to dinner at our ship and show you how we operate?" Reek asked. The mother and daughter saw 2 ghosts with long pens appear and disappear. They noticed they were not in blue haze. "You go ahead, I will go to Rico's team and see how they are doing," Jamie said. Arlene looked at Jamie and she seemed to recognize her from somewhere. The way she talked and moved her hair, she saw her somewhere. Jamie disappeared. Anna and Arlene found themselves at the mess hall. Reek showed them to the captain's table near the floor-to-ceiling window. Earth was on the right with Mars on the left. The sun was further to the right. "Where are we? How did we get here?" Anna asked. "Have a seat, Mrs. Gomez. I will explain," Reek said, gesturing to the seat beside him. The mother and daughter sat beside Reek. Debbie and Kelly sat across them. Dr. Lopez sat at the head of the table. Reek started to explain things about the ship. Arlene noticed there were 4 different alien life forms walking around, some eating with people in different tables and nobody seemed to be minding them. There were 2 aliens, a Norset and a Talonot, working behind the counter and another, a Bwufang, pushing a trolley to the kitchen. "So you are like Men in Black?" Arlene asked, referring to an old movie. Reek did not know the show, so he started to explain again. Debbie started where Reek left off. "So Jamie is actually a movie star portraying Ellie Rivers of the Armada. Mr. Reek and I work with the Armada, Dr. Lopez works with Dr. Vicky Man, and Kelly works with the CIA. So you can all become invisible?" Anna asked. "2 ways, one via our ship technology and another using the Crinsons," Reek said. He then went on to explain things about the Crinsons and Trunties. "So if you become invisible using the ship, we do not see you as in a blue haze, but if you are invisible using the Crinson, you have that blue haze, and this is when you are similar to ghosts," Arlene said, and Debbie nodded. "So now I presume we are invisible but not Crinson invisible," Anna said. "Yes. We are invisible but not Crinson invisible," Reek said. "And these Crinsons made you all telepathic?" Anna asked. "It's handy and we use it in our work," Debbie said. "Normally, when you go through the Crinson gives you some intel or knowledge you will find useful to do your job. To understand the Armada," Reek said. "Can you make Mom and me telepathic as well?" Arlene said. Debbie asked the Crinson, and the Crinson said yes. "It will also provide you with information to help you do your work. Also, you need to tell the Crinson whether you agree to be comedic or not. Do you want to do it now or after dinner?" "Now," Arlene said, looking at her mom, who nodded. They found themselves in a brown room, and Reek explained that they were inside the Crinson. 2 Trunties walked in and held their hands. The 2 went silent with their faces looking out. 2 more Trunties appeared and held their other hand. The Trunties told Debbie and Reek that they are amazed at the 2. They could not imagine how humans can see ghosts and hear telepathic waves. They were also amazed and reveled at the experiences of the mom and some of the daughters, especially when they are able to help the ghost move on. They get a kick out of the instance the ghost leave into the light. They could never get more of the peace and tranquility they felt at that moment. The fleeting moment when they feel the universe as one, so calm and loving, so caring and peaceful. Colonel Phillips would be arriving with 3 more Crinsons and about 200 Trunties in 2 days. The Crinsons requested some company. 1 would inhabit the science ship and the other 2 will inhabit parts of the space station. They intended to create their own space in the station by adding a large enclosure underneath the station. Debbie said. "I guess the more the merrier," Reek said. Jamie appeared. "Dr. Reek, I was just thinking, Anna already has a name well known among the ghost communities. I realized this when I saw a lot of ghosts hanging around her house. You could say she already has a ready and captive market. If we can convince her to front for us and then refer some of the ghosts to us, then our people can start the interview process immediately before the clients go to her. She can then screen those who she does not want to deal with, and we can deal with them. Some we can refer back to her with their information telepathically relayed to her, so she can either render a recommendation or tell the ghosts what to do or tell us what to do. We have to convince her first to front for us and work with us with the ghosts cases we started on," Debbie said. "I think that we have a lot to learn from her and Arlene. I would have to convince her to teach our agents, to transfer her experiences to our agents," Reek said. "The Crinsons have her experiences, we can just ask the Crinson to transfer some of these experiences like a knowledge base to our agents in the field so they would know the cases she has worked on," Debbie said. "That's the easy part. The one thing we cannot transfer is how she decides on what course of action to take. The decision process is not readily apparent. She would have to teach our agents how to think like her," Reek said. "That includes her compassion and deep understanding of ghost psychology and feelings," Jamie said. "Very good, Jamie. I am sorry, but I always thought movie stars were divas and only cared about the limelight," Reek said. "Not this movie star," Jamie said. After more than 30 minutes, Anna and Arlene woke up from the trance that normally accompanies their first connection with the Crinsons and Trunties. "I'm hungry," Arlene said. "Of course, Tom, please?" Reek asked. They found themselves in the mess hall except for the Trunties, who preferred to stay back. Dr. Lopez stayed inside the Crinson to absorb some of the experiences of the mother and daughter team. Arlene went straight to the counter and her mother followed her. "Excuse us for a while, Mr. Reek," Anna said. "We will wait for you at our table," Reek said. Debbie, Jamie and Reek sat at the table beside the large window. They had their food beamed in front of them. "You have so many different food items in this ship," Arlene said as she sat across Debbie. Anna followed and sat across Reek. "I suppose those other dishes are for the aliens on the ship?" Anna asked. "Some of the alien delicacies are actually very good. The special ones that are not so good to the general populace are on the other counter to the right," Reek explained. Mrs. Gomez, Jamie realizes that there are a lot of ghosts hanging around your house, inside and outside. Some of the ghosts are just standing there, some nearer the street. Debbie asked, then looked at Jamie. Jamie leaned forward with her movie star perfect face, and we know that some of the ghosts are simply there hoping their relatives would be looking for them. Some of them, I guess, even approach you by themselves and ask for help. And if you don't mind, we would like to help by interviewing them, prepare them before you even talk to them, or if ever you decide to talk to them. Or you can just tell us what to do. Jamie, I think I now know you. You are a movie star. How is it that you are involved with this kind of work? Anna asked. Then she realized Reek told her this earlier. Our outfit was created to help those needing help. It's a long story, but Debbie and I were part of the group that started all of this with our discovery that our crimson invisibility have encroached into the realm of ghosts. And we discovered this early enough because of an evening window shopping trip that never got underway because we had to help 2 kids who turned out to be ghosts. Jamie explained. The government formally formed this group and made me its leader. It's composed of people from the CIA, military, Armada, FBI and other off-world scientists. We named it Phantom because we are literally ghosts who walked, although some of us can float. I added the word tide because we would be dealing with countless situations like a tide of phantoms meeting a tide of ghosts and their stories. We reckon we could use some help and you can provide this help to us. Reek said. How? Anna asked. Our people can benefit if you can tell them how you deal with situations. To show them your compassion and explain to them your decision processes, to help them understand ghost psychology. In a way this is social services but in the ghost dimension, and we have not found anybody with the wealth of experience like you have. Jamie answered. If you don't mind, you can hold office here in this ship, or we can assign people in your home to act as your first line of secretaries to interview all the ghosts hanging around, under your supervision of course, and then you can tell them whether you want to deal with the cases or not, or let us deal with them with your instructions of course. Debbie continued. We are having a building renovated for Phantom Tide use. Or we can open up an office in the house next door, specifically, at the back of your house, which we believe is vacant, to act as an extension of your office. We can pay you for those you do not have to deal with, but instructed us to do whatever it is you decide to do. Jamie said. Anna looked at Jamie's blue eyes and sensed the truthful longing, desire and compassion to help those who have nowhere to turn to. I agree. In fact, I am thankful that I will not die without anybody continuing my work except for Arlene here, who still have to learn to be calm with some of the ghosts that pester her. Anna said. Debbie laughed, and it's funny that a lot of movies portray ghosts as ghastly. I have never met a ghastly ghost. In fact, we even bought dresses for the last 2 girl ghosts we had to help. We brought them on a tour in Bangkok and Hong Kong, and they absolutely loved the food. They were so happy to wear new dresses and even taste food for the first time. You can do that? Arlene asked, surprised. Our scientists told us that ghosts exist in another plane of existence or dimension. It's just that we have a capability through our crimson friends to exist in their world and let things exist in the ghost world from the real world. Reek explained. That's amazing. I can offer the ghosts some refreshments or even some change of clothes while they wait? Anna asked. You can do that. Jamie said. If we do that, word will get around and soon there will be thousands of ghosts hanging around the house or the whole street area. You must know one thing about ghosts, and that is they gossip a lot. They talk among themselves, and rightly so, because there are no other person to talk to except with ghosts. Arlene said. Then we have a captive market. Reek said. One more thing. All Armada members have implants that allows our people to communicate with the ships and with each other through great distances. If you sit still for a few minutes, you can have this implant. Debbie instructed. Anna looked at her daughter. I guess we can have this too. For the next few minutes the mother and daughter sat still and did not even talk. It's done. Reek said. He then instructed them on the use and operation of the implant. Would you like to have a tour of our ship and the space station? Debbie asked. Sure. Anna said. Reek nodded and told Debbie to go ahead. In fact, bring them to Planet Los Angeles and show them around. Reek said. The next day, at Anna's house, Debbie, Jamie and Arlene were sitting at the back of Arlene's table while she interviewed some of the live clients. They observed her doing her work and realized she follows a series of questions which attempts to zero in on the problem or problems that might cause the ghosts to stay as ghosts and not move on. When the clients actually sit across Anna, Debbie and Jamie were sitting there listening as well. Anna pretty much understands what Arlene has scribbled on the questionnaire form and proceeds to contact the ghost if the ghost is in the room at all. Add the fact that now Anna could just talk to Arlene telepathically. Normally the ghosts follow them, but in 1 out of 5 cases, the ghosts were not there. In these cases Anna would tell the client to come back after 2 weeks and Arlene would return their money. That afternoon, Reek brought in several Phantom Tide agents and set up 2 tables outside the house. Reek and Kelly started talking with the ghosts and directed them to form 2 lines for the 2 tables. Each table has 4 chairs across them. The 2 agents behind the desk followed the questionnaire Arlene was using. After this, they use a questionnaire of their own, specifically focusing on any personal information and details, irregularity, or criminal activities that may have happened. They also prepared a table of refreshment right beside Anna's front door. The refreshment included orange juice, milk, lemonade, fried chicken, hot dogs, hamburgers, mixed fruits, and hot clam chowder soup with biscuits on the side. The ghosts found this incredible and quite enjoyable. Tony, the ship AI, had to replenish the table several times in an hour. Reek and Kelly were called by Anna telepathically into the room. They found Jamie and Debbie talking to a mature, well-dressed woman. She looked late 50s, sad and close to tears. "Hi guys, this is Mrs. Lena Bertrand. Her husband was shot last week and she felt he is around her. She felt that her husband wants to tell her something." Anna said and introduced the team one by one, and she seemed to not understand why they were in the room. "These people help me with all of my cases." Anna continued and seemed to know what her clients were thinking about. "Is he here?" Reek asked. "He is actually behind her," Anna said. Reek looked at Debbie and told her telepathically to lock the door. Then he turned to Anna and told her telepathically, "We can be all crimson invisible so we can let Mrs. Bertrand talk to her husband instead." Anna nodded. Reek asked the Crinsons to make them crimson invisible. "Mrs. Bertrand, your husband is behind you, would you just ask him yourself?" Anna said. Mrs. Bertrand turned and saw her husband. "Hello Ken, you look younger," she told him. Mr. Bertrand looked at her. "Lena, darling, don't cry too much, you're making me sad to see you cry. What I want to tell you is that the people who shot me will not stop until you sign the company off to them. They will threaten the family, the kids, and our grandkids. These people are very bad. I don't know what to do." "Who?" Lena asked. "The vice chairman, Joe Starr, 3 of the board members, Suresh, Diane, and Max." "Your cousin Max?" "Max holds a quarter of the company while the rest hold a total of 20%. Now you own 55% and they would simply not settle for a few to control the company. They would want you to sell all of the shares. They want you out of the picture. They threatened me and I said, fuck you, and I did not expect they would kill me. Why do you think they would go this far to get the company? It's this new nanobot design I was working on. I figured out a way to design and create even smaller nanobots that can go through the bloodstream and alter or even reverse the calcification in the arteries. The data is in a flash drive that I hid with Dad's ashes in our room. I taped it to the bottom of the jar and returned the ashes. I haven't seen Dad though, so I don't know if he's angry with what I did. I have another copy in our SDB and another with your brother Vernon. Now they think the data is in the lab in the office, but the data they have are designs of the older and larger nanobots and would not work as well as the new ones. They are not yet trying to work on it since they are laying low, covering their tracks for the moment. So why didn't you just sell when you knew they didn't have your invention? I had to make them believe I have it in the lab and wouldn't want to part with my work. I guess it was Joe's idea to kill me. He's always a hothead nutcase. He wouldn't have done it had the others not support his idea though. He was your friend since you were kids. It was a gamble. But now it's up to you to sell the company. Don't make it too obvious, but sell it as fast as you can. In the drive you will find my instructions on how to bring the invention to life, who to trust and who to ask for help. Ken, darling, you do know that after selling the company, I would have to seek justice for your death. I will spend all the money I will get to make them pay for doing this to you. Revenge is not important to me. As long as I know you and the family are safe. Just take the money and forget about them. They don't have anything anyway, and after they pay you off, they will have less. It matters to me. Revenge is different from justice. Fine. Sell first before you do anything. I don't want to argue to death since I am already dead. You are always a hard-headed grandma. You do know your hard-headedness will delay my moving on. Excuse me, Lena. Ken, who pulled the trigger? Anna interjected. They hired a guy. I don't know who he is. I was shot from the back. Oh, I am sorry. Ken honey, these are Anna's people. Anna took over the introduction and each of them shook Ken's hand. Ken, may I offer you something? Coffee or tea or some fruits maybe? Anna asked. Yes, coffee black with some sugar. Anna walked across the room to a table behind Ken and poured hot steaming coffee in a mug and gave it to Ken. Ken held it and felt the heat and smelled the aroma. You can put the sugar yourself. She pointed to the array of different sugars on the table. I haven't had any food or coffee for a week now. This is really great. Not that ghosts need food, but a little sometimes make you remember how good food is. Lena looked surprised. She extended her hand and Ken held it. She stood and embraced her husband for a long time. Everybody in the room just waited quietly. "I missed you so much," Lena told him. Ken kissed her several times, showing her how much he longed for her. "Even if it's just been a week." Reek told the Max to plan a mind read of the suspects tonight. They have learned that most people dismiss as dreams such activities when Reek's group put them in time boxes in their beds and Trunties would read their mind. "Lena, dear, we would like to investigate Max and his cohorts and get back to you tomorrow. You will get a call from us and we would tell you any development on the case," Anna said. "You would do that for me? How much would you want for the service?" Lena asked. Anna looked at Reek. "We will bill you by the hour, say $500 per hour?" Reek told her. Reek had no idea what to charge for the extra services. Jamie told him they would have to create a billing department. Debbie sided with Reek and told Jamie, "We have to pay our people too. That's cheaper than my CPA and my lawyer. No, I will pay you $2,000 per hour. If you don't mind. Lena, some investigations may turn out a lot of nasty things. Some of these, we have decided as a rule, we would not tell the clients if it would delay the ghosts from moving on. We are always on the side of the ghosts, not the clients who pay for our services. I believe you read this when you signed the information form," Anna explained. "I did. Can I be with Ken longer? Tonight at your bedroom starting 8 p.m. until say 12 midnight, we would let you into his dimension. Within this time no one can see you, Lena, like you just disappeared. You can walk around like ghosts do," Reek said. "How about from 8 p.m. for the rest of my life?" Lena asked. Ken looked at her and kissed her cheeks. "No, you would have to settle a lot of things in the regular plane of existence. Until the morning, how's that?" Reek countered. "Okay, and the next night?" Lena, pushing her luck, asked. "Maybe. Remember, we are on the side of the ghost," Reek said. "Fine, I am going to our house by the lake. It's pretty secluded. Can you make the whole house disappear?" "Sure," Reek answered her. Ken shook Reek's hand and, "Thank you, Mr. Reek." They reappeared and Lena could not feel her husband's hand anymore. Lena sat down and cried. "Ken is telling you not to cry," Anna said. Lena understood and composed herself. "Thank you, Mrs. Gomez. I am settled now. Please call my phone tomorrow afternoon. Please. This is the address of the cabin by the lake." She stood up and, "By Ken, I love you and I would wait for you tonight." She went over to Reek and embraced him. She went to Debbie and Jamie and Anna and embraced them. Then she left the room quietly after looking at the place where her husband was. Debbie had a tear in her eye. The Trunties felt their love, so calm, so quiet, so deep. "They made me feel it too." "Is that how old people love, Mr. Reek?" Debbie asked. "Normally, I guess, I lost my wife when I was not that old. But yes, the calm and the quiet love, that I know." "That turned out very well, Mr. Reek, thank you," Anna said, and Reek gave her a slight smile. "We're not done yet. We have to let her husband move on," Jamie said, breaking the mood. "Next case, Arlene, let Mr. Dunn come in please," Anna said. Arlene told Mr. Dunn to go ahead and walk into her mom's office. Before Mr. Dunn stood, Arlene was briefing her mom and Reek's group. Mr. Dunn lost his daughter in a car accident a month ago. The other 2 kids in the truck also died. He said he felt her numerous times and she appeared in his dreams several times. Anna stood and directed Mr. Dunn to the chair across her table. She introduced herself and Reek's group. They shook hands. Mr. Dunn appeared calm and composed. He started to tell Anna about his dreams and how he felt his daughter Monica. "Your daughter Monica is standing beside you holding your shoulder. Would you like to talk to her?" Anna asked. Dunn looked to his left and he saw his daughter appear. "Hello, Peach. How are you?" He did not notice the room turning with a slightly blue haze. He suddenly felt her hand on his shoulders. He instinctively held it. Surprised, he stood and his daughter embraced him tight. "I am sorry, Daddy. It was my fault why I died." "No, it was an accident." "No, Daddy. The 2 boys wanted to rape me and I grabbed and forced the steering wheel to crash the car. I did not know we would crash into a tree. But I was only protecting myself. I did not know what to do and in anger I jerked the wheel. I am sorry, Daddy. I never realized my death would destroy your life. Please do not destroy your life, this is what I want to tell you. I love you very much, Daddy, please go on with your life. You are all I have. I have nothing to live for. All my life, my work, my joy and my dreams are all about you. I have nothing. But I don't want you to destroy your life. I love you so much, Daddy. Please do this for me. Please, it hurts me to see you like this." She embraced her dad tighter. "Please promise me you will take care of yourself." "Okay, Peach. I did not know you felt this way. And no, you have done nothing wrong. It was an accident. You can never be wrong in my eyes. I love you very much." Promise me now so I can move on. I promise. Monica kissed her dad once then twice. She stepped back and, goodbye Daddy, I love you very much. Then she disappeared. Dunn was quiet. After a few minutes he turned to Anna. Thank you Mrs. Gomez. I don't know how you did that. But thank you. He stood up and quietly left. Debbie had a tear in her eye. He remembered how she loved her daddy with all her life. As a child she can only love her dad, she has never become angry or unhappy. Her dad had only given her pretty much anything that made her happy. He died in an accident when she was only 12. After that she felt a definite emptiness and loneliness. A feeling she accepted will never resolve itself. Like to her daddy, she could never do anything wrong to him. Arlene's voice hit her telepathically. Captain Santos is next. Arlene did not proceed. Anna continued, he's an old client. He comes in with a lot of ghosts, sometimes 3 or 4 different cases. She told Reek's group. She stood and met Captain Santos at the door. Maximo, how are you today? Anna asked and gave him a hug. Very well, Anna, how are you and Arlene? All is well. Have a seat. Okay, this is Mr. Reek, Debbie and Jamie. They work with me. So how may I help you this time? Maximo gave her a folder. First, I did not pay Arlene. I have 2 missing kids. Brother age 10 and sister 9. I do not see any 2 kids. I do see 3 people. What 3 people? Anna asked the 3 ghosts their names. Her name is Catherine Rind and she was killed in the subway. Another is a more mature lady, Mrs. Dolores Riker, and she was shot in her house. The last one is a young guy, Mr. Manuel Grant, late 20s, shot in the head in his house. As usual she sees Maximo writing their names. Can I talk to them, Anna? Sure, ask them yourself. Maximo did not understand and when he saw Anna gestured with her hand to face the other way, he was dumbfounded. I did not know you can make the ghosts appear. It's a long story. Why don't you and the ghosts move over to the kitchen? There is a table and some refreshments. Maximo appeared unsure but he gestured towards the ghosts and they gestured to move to the kitchen. Okay Mom, the next is Mrs. Renee Martin. She lost her husband and she suspects her lover killed her husband. Please have a seat Mrs. Martin. How can we help you? Anna asked. I lost my husband last month. He was shot in his car on the way home. I suspect I know someone killed him. I am afraid and I would like to talk to my husband. Anna saw the husband and told her he did not want to talk to her. I would like to talk to you later. I am sorry Mrs. Martin, I was talking to somebody else. Your husband is not here. Can you come back when you feel he is near you or if you dream about him? Sure. I will come back later. Mrs. Martin stood and headed towards the door. Anna did not stand to show her out. Instead she told Arlene to hold the next client. Reek and his group became crimson invisible. Mr. Martin, this is Mr. Reek, Jamie and Debbie. So how can I help you? Anna asked. Her lover shot me. I think she had a hand in it but I have no proof. It could happen that the lover would like to marry her and later kill her. Why don't you go to the kitchen and talk to Captain Santos and tell him what you know? Tell him we sent you to tell him your case. Reek suggested. Arlene's voice came fast. Mr. Johnny Oster, he is dreaming of his father for the past month. His father died a little over a month ago. He feels his father wants to tell him something. Reek realized that Arlene is working efficiently, always on cue. Anna stood and, Reek, why don't you sit here this time? Reek looked at her and sat down on Anna's chair. Anna met Mr. Oster at the door, shook his hand and introduced Reek, Jamie and Debbie. Reek stood and shook Mr. Oster's hand. Please take a seat, Mr. Oster. Mr. Oster started to tell Reek about his dad, his death, his dreams, and his feeling that he feels him sometimes. Why would you think your dad want to contact you? Reek asked. I do not have the slightest idea. He's here behind you. Do you like to talk to him? Anna asked. Sure, how do I do that? You can turn around and just talk to him. Reek said. Mr. Oster noticed the room have a blue hue. He saw his dad, wearing his favorite blue shirt. Dad, is that you? Older Oster looked at Johnny. Hi Johnny, you look well. Dad, you look well too. Actually you look younger. He stood and faced his dad. He reached for his dad's shoulder and feeling them he embraced his dad tight. I have been trying to tell you, make my presence to you. I want to tell you I am really sorry for what I did. Johnny released his dad. What did you do? I willed all the major properties to your younger brother, leaving almost nothing to you. Johnny thought about it. It's okay Dad, I do not expect anything from you. Is that all? Yes, and to say I am sorry I treated you the way I did. It's okay Dad, there is nothing to forgive. I love you very much, you have and will always be my dad. Thank you son. I am happy that you understand. Is that all? Do you want me to do anything or do you want to tell me anything else? No, that is all. I can leave now. He held Johnny's shoulders and embraced him tight. They stayed this way for a minute. Then Johnny's dad stepped back and disappeared. Johnny looked at Reek. He did not sit anymore. Thank you, Anna, Mr. Reek, Johnny said. He looked at the two women and nodded. The room lost the blue hue. He quietly turned around, opened the door and left. Just then Captain Santos came into the room and said, Anna, how did you do that? Let me talk to the ghosts? Anna shrugged and, so did you learn anything, Max? A lot. But I need to do a lot of work yet. Anyway, I will email to you a summary of my records on their cases. If you see the two kids, please talk to them and call me, okay? Sure, I will talk to you later. Maximo nodded, opened the door and left. Arlene came in and, we're closed. Is this a regular day for you guys? Debbie asked. Yes, pretty much. Arlene said. You know we learned a lot today. I did. Jamie said. The Crinsons made my work easier, thank you, Mr. Reek. How about dinner? Reek asked. I'm really hungry, Mom. How about some steak? Sure, dear, where do you like? How about the usual down the strip mall? Hey, I know a good steakhouse. Debbie said. Sure, I'm down. Jamie said. Debbie told Tony to beam them to Andy's place in Australia.